OneCoin. In 2014, Dr. Ruja Ignatova emerged, branding herself as the crypto queen. She promised OneCoin would be bigger than Bitcoin and convinced ordinary people they were getting in on the ground floor of the next big thing. In over 175 countries, investors flooded in. Seminars sold out and people emptied their savings. And the excitement frenzied as the price of OneCoin kept climbing. But here's the kicker. The numbers were fake. Ignatova and her team were forging trading data, artificially inflating the value of OneCoin to keep investors hooked. The price wasn't set by the market. It was typed into a computer and made to look like it was skyrocketing. Behind the glamorous facade was a classic Ponzi scheme. Ignatova was paying early investors with the money of new ones while pocketing billions. Then, in 2017, as investigators closed in, Ruja boarded a plane to Athens and vanished without a trace. The FBI still has her on their most wanted list, but years later, she's still a ghost. And the billions she stole? Gone with her. BitConnect. In 2016, a project called BitConnect claimed to have an AI trading bot that could deliver a guaranteed 1% return every single day. Users would deposit Bitcoin into the BitConnect platform. In return, they would receive BitConnect coins. They could then lend these coins back to BitConnect, who used their so-called trading bot to generate profits from crypto market fluctuations. The hype was unreal. Conferences were packed, influencers were pushing it, and the BitConnect guy screamed the name on stage like a man possessed. Investors watched their dashboards show numbers skyrocketing, believing they were on the fast track to wealth. What they didn't know was that BitConnect was faking it, artificially inflating returns, and manipulating numbers to keep everyone hooked. There was no miracle trading bot. Instead, it was another classic Ponzi scheme. In early 2018, with increased pressure from regulators, the website shut down overnight. The token's value crashed from hundreds to pennies. Over $3.5 billion vanished, and thousands were left holding worthless coins. As for the founder, Satish Kumbani, he was indicted in February 2022 on multiple charges and faces up to 70 years in prison. However, since his indictment, authorities have been unable to locate him. PlusToken. In 2018, a crypto wallet called PlusToken hit the market, dressed up as the next breakthrough in digital finance. It promised users huge returns just for holding coins, no trading or risk required. With its sleek app, referral bonuses, and the illusion of cutting-edge innovation, it looked legit. Millions of investors across Asia bought in, convinced they were early adopters of something revolutionary. Every day, the numbers on their screens climbed higher, giving them the thrill of wealth creation. But just like the previous scams, the numbers weren't real. PlusToken was forging them, artificially inflating balances to keep users hooked. Behind the scenes, the scammers were quietly draining funds from the platform, moving billions in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other coins through an elaborate web of wallets to cover their tracks. By the time investors realized the truth, the money was gone. Authorities eventually caught some members of the group, but the stolen crypto, worth over $3 billion, mostly vanished. QuadrigaCX, Canada, 2019? Crypto investors using QuadrigaCX, the country's largest exchange, suddenly found themselves locked out of their accounts. Withdrawals froze without warning, and panic spread like wildfire. Then came the shocking announcement. Gerald Cotton, the young founder of QuadrigaCX, had died suddenly in India from complications related to Crohn's disease. Cotton had also been the only person with access to the exchange's cold wallets supposedly holding $190 million in customer funds. The story sounded tragic but suspicious, and as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered an unsettling truth. The wallets were empty long before Cotton's death. Cotton had been secretly moving funds to personal accounts and other exchanges for years, effectively running a Ponzi scheme under the guise of a legitimate business. This led to some believing Cotton had faked his death to escape justice, possibly living under a new identity with the stolen fortune. Others suspected darker motives and hidden accomplices. Years later, the stolen money has never been recovered, and Cotton's fate is still a mystery. Africrypt, South Africa, 2021. Two young brothers, Amir and Rayez Kaji, created a platform called Africrypt. They promised investors sky-high returns. Too good to ignore. With slick marketing, they lured in millions in Bitcoin from investors eager to ride the crypto wave. Everything seemed to be working. Until one day investors received a message. Africrypt had been hacked. The platform was shutting down and users were warned not to involve authorities, as it might slow down the recovery process. That was the first red flag. The second, the brothers vanished. Their phones went dead, their offices emptied, and their online presence erased. They had disappeared, along with an estimated $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin, making it one of the largest crypto heists in history. FTX was a crypto exchange founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF. At its peak, FTX was valued at a staggering $32 billion. Celebrities endorsed it, politicians praised it, and investors believed it was the safest place to trade crypto. SBF was hailed a genius and became the face of crypto's legitimacy. But behind the disheveled hair and hoodie attire, customer funds were secretly being funneled into Alameda Research, SBF's private trading firm. He was making risky bets and taking massive losses. In November 2022, the truth was revealed, triggering panic across the entire crypto industry. Billions in customer funds were lost, and SBF was arrested and charged with fraud on a massive scale. He was eventually sentenced to 25 years in prison for misappropriating customer funds and defrauding investors. Thodex, Turkey, 2021. The crypto exchange Thodex was thriving, attracting thousands of users with promises of low fees, bonuses, and special promotions. Then, without warning, trading froze overnight. Users logged in to find their funds locked, withdrawals disabled, and the CEO Farouk Ozer was missing. Authorities soon discovered he had fled the country, taking with him over $2 billion in investor funds. For months, Ozer remained at large, reportedly hopping between countries to evade capture. Eventually, he was caught in Albania and extradited to face justice. But while authorities got their man, the stolen billions were never recovered. Squid Game token. After Netflix's Squid Game took the world by storm in 2021, scammers launched the Squid Game token, claiming it was tied to an upcoming play-to-earn game inspired by the hit series. Social media buzzed about it, news outlets covered it, and fear of missing out drove investors to buy in. The price skyrocketed from pennies to an astonishing $2,800 per token. But there was a catch. Investors quickly discovered they couldn't sell. The developers had programmed the token to block sales, trapping holders as the price soared. Then came the rug pull. The developers dumped their tokens, drained liquidity, and disappeared into the shadows. Within minutes, the price collapsed to nearly zero, wiping out millions of dollars in investor funds. HyperVerse. Imagine a futuristic world where you could invest in a digital universe and earn passive income while the metaverse grows around you. That was the dream HyperVerse sold to investors. They promised access to a cutting-edge virtual ecosystem. Users were told they could stake tokens, refer friends, and watch their wealth multiply as the project expanded. But behind the glossy facade, there was nothing of substance. No real metaverse, no groundbreaking technology, just, you've guessed it, another Ponzi scheme. Returns were paid using money from new investors, while the platform's creators pocketed the rest. For months, HyperVerse maintained the illusion of success, using flashy updates and community hype to keep investors hooked. But as the recruitment slowed, the payouts began to stall. By 2023, the entire scheme collapsed, leaving investors with empty wallets and broken promises. And Sam Lee, the co-founder, was charged with fraud. SaveTheKids Coin. SaveTheKids Coin, a token launched in 2021, promised to change the world. Not by making investors rich, but by helping children. The project claimed it would donate a portion of every transaction to children's charities, turning every trade into an act of kindness. Social media lit up with endorsements and investors rushed in. But shortly after launch, insiders and influencers who had hyped the token dumped their holdings in what became a textbook pump and dump scheme. The price plummeted almost instantly, wiping out the savings of everyday investors who had believed in the mission. The promised charity donations never happened, and the project vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving only angry investors.